Everybody, it's great to see you on Lake More of More Capacity, where the stretch is necessary. Perfection is not the measure, but maturity is mandatory. It is 10:55, and I don't know what time you guys lay it down, but 5 minutes is going to come soon because Monday is coming. But before Monday comes, I want it to be intentional. And when I tell you intentional, this is intentional. I had to scrape myself up out of the bed and come. When there is something within you and you know that you are created to do something, please understand that there's also going to be a fight. But you have a race to run, and we must be committed to running that race. Am I talking to anybody? How many of you realize that there's a race to run, and when there's a race to run, that obstacles are also going to come? How do you plan for that? How do you gear up your mental capacity that no matter what obstacle comes, that you realize that the fight is already fixed, the race is already promised, and that you must continue no matter what? You have to run your race. Good evening, sis. Good to see you. You have to run your race. The mindset shift is not that too much that you have to, but now you get to. You have been entrusted. We have been entrusted with certain gifts, with certain spheres of influence that in order for the world to be impacted, and realize that we each have a position of impact, in order for the world to be shifted the way that it's supposed to, you have to do what you're created to do. And I know sometimes I talk about this all the time, but I'm telling you, it's a convincing of myself. You get to a certain point in life to where no excuse is an option. No experience can continue to be a hindrance. No lack of you filling your own blanks can be a roadblock. We have a race to run. So I'm coming here today, being intentional before Monday comes, to encourage you. Run your race. Run your race. Now, think about races. Depending upon how the race is set up, you can have people that will be able to be there to cheer you on, and there will be others who will run along with you. But two things can occur. People can be there to cheer you on, but you really never hear them and see them because you're focused on what? The finish line. You can be in a crowd of people, but everybody running with you is really not running for the same purpose. What I mean is that there are different categories. Yes, you can be running the same race, but there can be diversities in age. There can be diversities in gender. There could be diversities in, if they're, in golf, you have handicaps. We'll use that in the correct context and term. They could be running beside you, and there could be someone running in front of you and also someone running behind you. But as long as you complete your race, you never know if you're going to be deemed the winner. If we focus on somebody in front of us all the time and say, gosh, I'm not going to win because I'm not doing what is doing. Or if we run the race and we can see all the support that someone else is getting and saying, I'm not winning because I don't hear someone calling my name. Sometimes it'll cause us to slow up. It'll cause us to be discouraged. It'll cause us to stop. But I must remember that we have a race to run. Yeah, a race to run. And I don't know about you, but my desire is at the end of the race is not only to win, but I want to hear, well done. Well done. I want to be good. I want to be faithful through every situation, through every circumstance. I still want to hear, well done. Run your race. I want to give you a slight story to remember. I was fortunate to be in a group yesterday of some wonderful young women, And in their company, we were talking about the story of Zora Neale Hurston. Her biography recently was written by a wonderful author by the name of Valerie Boyd. Now, I don't know about you. I don't have right now. My bandwidth would not allow me to read 459 pages, all of it, right? I need the Cliff Notes. So I'm going to give you the Cliff Notes. Y'all ready? Hello, Sharonda. The story goes like this. Zora Neale Hurston, born in the early 1900s. And as a woman of color born at that time, can you imagine the things that she endured and overcame? She was born in a time to where she was not allowed or permitted to read and write. She was not, hey, she was not given the permission to be great. In that time, there was a gender acceptance where men were to be one way, women were to be another way. But the synopsis of this story, and there's somebody here that we talked about this yesterday, so I'll get to share it again. But the synopsis of the story is this: she still ran her race. Yeah, the times, her gender, the color of her skin, everything was against her. The woman was supposed to be illiterate. But yet, Zora Neale Hurston wrote 7 books in a time when she was running her race, as we talked about before, and nobody was really celebrating her. Nobody was on the sideline saying, go girl, do your thing. No. And nobody was coming to write a check and say, I believe you. I believe in you. You make sure that you don't stop. But she ran her race. There was something within her, even when, y'all know how I am about this subject, when she didn't have the support of family, specifically her father. Her mother died early. Her husbands, and I didn't mean plural, y'all see that is, were abusive. But there was something within her that said, regardless of what the pressures of life and what the world is telling me I cannot be, I'm going to run this race. So today in 2021, all of the great authors that we read, Terry McMillan, Alice Walker, all of them, they tip their hat to Zora Neale Hurston. But do you know that literally she died with what the world would say was nothing? She died empty. Whoa, that right there. No money in the bank, but she died. Y'all, that thing right there just got good to me. She died empty. Now, the measure of her success for many would have been, what did she have in the bank? But she died empty. Supposed to be illiterate, supposed not to be able to do anything, but in that time she ran her race. So today, in 2021, we still speak her name. And when we speak her name, there's a force that comes with it, because without her, there would be no Color Purple. There would be no Toni Morrison. There would be no Terry McMillan and Alice Walker and Dorothy, all these other great authors and artists, right? She created the roadmap for everybody else to follow because she ran her race. Y'all, there's always going to be somebody before you, but remember that somebody's coming behind you. And even if the measure of the world may tell you that it is nothing, that it's not enough, that it will not be worth anything, that there's only a couple people watching, what you do, what we do, what I do today in running this race, that when we hear, well done, thy good and faithful, somebody coming behind us will have a clearer vision of their own finish line. So for nothing else, I leave you with this. Run your race. Again, if there's nobody on the sidelines cheering you on, calling your name, run your race. If there's some type of pushback If you are hearing no's and people are telling that you can't, keep running your race. For your name will be called. And if you run your race, you will be ready. Be the roadmap for somebody else. So yeah, as I peeled myself up off that bed, because these little boys, they want to cuddle all night, and I'm going to give it to them as much as I can. But I also realize that I have a race to run. And ain't nobody going to always be like, girl, come on now. Because if I don't believe it, if I don't believe what he says for me first, accountable to me first, then who in the world will ever be able to agree? I'm just saying. Run your race. Thank you for being here. Monday is coming. In whatever sphere of influence you are in, do not minimize it and think it to be small. Don't think it to be small. Despise not. I can hear, all right, Lady Alice, I can hear my spiritual father always saying, despise not small beginnings. We must be faithful over the few, so that as we run, we gain stamina, we gain integrity and character and confidence, godly confidence, right? And it gives us wisdom and knowledge, and everything else that will come. But whatever you do, you can get winded and you can walk. You can crawl if you need to, but whatever you do, don't stop. That was for me. Don't stop. Carve out some time every day. And the dream that God gave you as a little girl, as a little boy, dust that thing off. For he that begun a good work, he's going to perform it. And the thing is this, is that he's not worried about platforms. That's what he told me. He said, girl, don't worry about platforms. He owns the earth. He creates his stage above the earth. So be faithful. Run your race. Oh my. Yes, endurance. And don't you stop either. All right. You guys have a great night. May the peace of the Lord be with you. May you rest and may you rise in the morning with strength, because somebody is connected to your endurance. They are. I appreciate you being here. All right. I'm like more capacity. It's amazing how God gave me that last name, more capacity. You guys, the stretch is necessary, not stretching thin, but stretching so that you can handle everything that God is going to put in our hands with responsibility and integrity and consistency. Perfection is not the measure. It's not about checking boxes, but perfection from a biblical standpoint is maturity. And that thing, loving when you don't want to, being obedient because you know you need to and it's the right thing to do and there's a promise connected to it, that is what's mandatory. All right. Have an amazing night, you guys. Good night.